All right. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Commons. ONJU presents the Commons. I'm your host, Boss 2.0. Come on in with us today. I usually come in on Wednesdays. It's been a busy week getting ready for fall break over here for me on the school side. Um, and I've got to get in the habit of being consistent. So even though I wasn't on Wednesday, I said I'm going to get my topics together. We're going to come in on Thursday, have a quick speed round of topics. So here we are. Welcome to Thursday. Welcome to our Commons today, tech and culture speed round. So this one, still working on one of the bigger deep dives that I have upcoming for the following week. Will be on Wednesday, like guaranteed. I mean, unless life happens, but hopefully it doesn't. But I'll be back in on Wednesdays, and we'll be talking about, as a little teaser, uh, Black NFT flagship projects. And so that's something I've been working on now for probably about the past 2 weeks. I gotta get a little bit more, gotta get my ear back down to the street, or more like ear back down to the timeline to get a few takes of yours. But I've been working on that for the past couple of weeks and wasn't quite ready to let it debut yet. So there's been some good stuff that's been going on over on the tech side and in the culture side. So I decided to come on in, pick three of those, play around with some of the new layouts and stuff we got over here on StreamYard. So as we put it together, you got to let me know how it goes. But put some of that together and just come on in for a speed round. So we'll see how long it'll be. I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If I just start to get off in it, we'll see. It might be longer. But if you are new to me or to us, this is ONJU Presents the Commons. Again, I'm Boss 2.0. Our common space is under the ONJU University umbrella. ONJU University, the educational platform where you can come in, where we are here to educate Black and Brown folks and even allies about emerging tech, Web3, blockchain, AI, so much more. And so this is a part of that. The Commons is the show that typically I host. And I just like to come in and talk about either what's been on my mind, things I've been researching. So we're here for that today. I'm gonna go ahead and jump on in. I came in, raced in from work today, and put together some new layouts. You saw the new countdown intro. You gotta let me know what you think about that. We've got some good new assets in here as well. You did hear some new background music. That is from back in the Boss 2.0 creator archives. Made that probably 2 years ago. I can't remember what tool it was right now. Um, Probably something on Hugging Face, because once I see through dropped that music in there, I went ahead and kind of went crazy and saved everything, like the archivist that I am, saved everything. And here was a moment where I could use it. It's been so difficult for me to try to figure out how I can intertwine music into streaming, being here on Twitch, being on X, also being on YouTube. I'm not trying to get banned. I'm not trying to get a creator strike. But when I was originally on X in the audio spaces, um, I always introed and outroed the space with the song that I was listening to lately. So I've been trying to figure out a way that I can pull that back, but not use the music, not even instrumentals. Because oftentimes with the video on demand over on the Twitch side, they will mute it. Uh, if you even hear a snippet of it, probably less than 30 seconds on YouTube, will get a copyright strike. Uh, I'm not sure what that Payday Twitter dad is going to do, but I'm sure he would do something with some music that wasn't licensed. So I got to figure out how I'm going to share that, because I still want that to be a really big part of the Commons. So I'll be figuring that out. You'll be seeing something, I'm sure, at the very least, even if I got to put up a card with what I'm listening to, why I like it, and maybe a link to Apple Music or a Spotify playlist, so that you can hear it after. Um, continuing with the engagement, continuing with all the things that I love that I want to share with y'all, not only here in the Web3 space when we talk about pop culture topics like we're going to talk about today, or even when it comes to music too. So let's go ahead and jump on in. I got three topics today: two tech, one culture, the culture topic. I can't believe I'm talking about this. when you see, you'll know why. But let's kick it off first today with talking about the first one. Let me get my new stuff up. There we go. There we go. So we're back over here on our first topic, talking about Bored Ape Yacht Club. Now, if you know about Bored Ape was the quintessential NFT project that was at the top of the market in 2022. It was the premier NFT when I first came into the space that everyone was talking about. Everyone was building their own projects in much the same way. Board 8 was built super organically uh, with friends that put it on the blockchain. It took off. It became the premier NFT. Celebrities were grabbing it. Uh, I mean, continuing even now to buy, so well, not even mint, they mint it out really quickly, but continuing to trade on the secondary market. It was also one of the projects during that last hype cycle that found a lot of controversy. um, if you remember, there was some controversy with Ryder Ricks and creating a whole pretty much copy of the project in itself as an art protest, we should say. um, that ended up going all the way to court. And in addition to that, so many other controversies popped up, like the one we're talking about now, where we have now seen that Board Ape Yacht Club NFTs are not constituted as securities. A court just ruled in California in a landmark decision that many people, the original lawsuit that came up, said people were alleging that the Board Ape Yacht Club NFTs were securities, meaning where people can buy them and then they receive money back as a result of holding that NFT. And that is, according to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, illegal. So it was brought in front of a court recently. I believe this was October 3rd, so probably a day or two before that. The court finally ruled that it is not a security. And so with that, let me get my topic pulled up because I see it right here in front of me, but I gotta have it like a little bit larger because my screen is small. But a federal judge in California dismissed a class action lawsuit against Yuga Labs, which is the company that owns Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs, ruling that the NFT project are not securities. There was a lot of legal uncertainty there, and so this is finally put an end to that. So the judge found that buyers, it's not a security because buyers used a third party marketplace like OpenSea, Coinbase, places like that to purchase the NFT and to sell and trade it, not a Yuga control platform. And so, with it being Yuga control platform, they could essentially control what people who held the NFT could potentially receive in return as far as like dividends, payments, and that sort. So the NFT itself lacked the common enterprise element that defines securities. Um, and so I think that that was probably a good well, actually, definitely something good that came about because I know some of the holders, like if it was a security and it was illegal, you're looking at a myriad of different consequences. Um, I mean, whether that ranged from not being able, not my light one now, not being able to continue to sell and trade them, to there we go, to to then not having to liquidate what it is that you have in case that they were that that was I'm sure the holders now are very much like, thankfully we can hang on to this. Let me see how I'm looking real quick because I think this slide. Oh, I'm still here. I'm still decent. All right. Um, I definitely think that this ruling has now given holders the opportunity to take a sigh of relief, that they're not violating security laws. So this continues to kind of reframe royalties with Yuga continuing to talk about, there was royalties as well. Toward the end of the last hype cycle, there was a really, really big argument in between when NFTs are sold, if the original creator would receive royalties from that, almost like continuing to have that stream of income um, as they were sold between holders. Uh, and oftentimes, the argument was, well, they should continue to get those royalties, much like you do for music. When every time a music song is played, music artists get royalties from that. So why not every time this NFT changes hands? Why doesn't the original artist or the company that owns the project itself receive a portion of whatever that is? And so it broke those profits away from the NFT holders, contradicting what SEC has kind of said already. Um, Even so, there is still a bit of a controversy there that's still continuing to be figured out. With Bored Ape, I know that they have such a strong community, but I do believe that moving forward into this next cycle, I do think they've lost some of that luster from things like this SEC lawsuit, from things like the Roderick's controversy, from things like um, some of the traits that are present in the NFTs almost being used as a way to make fun of minority groups. Uh, so even though we do see that those NFTs are continuing to change hands daily, it has lost some of the luster that we did see in that past hype cycle. Um, I also remember when it's slipping my mind. If I had me with me, he would help me out with that. But their their property, almost like metaverse project that they were minting, the gas fees on it were exorbitant, out of control, and then that continued to kind of chip away at that platform that Yuga and Bored Ape held. And we haven't really heard too much during this ramp up to the new cycle about what Yuga is doing, perhaps what even Bored Ape is doing. And for me, just speculating about that, it's definitely seeming like they might not be at the top of this next hype cycle. So all that kind of remains to be seen. But at the very least, they do have this legal win at the very beginning to give them a little bolster that we're not out here doing something illegal. Uh, and then hopefully that can be they can step back from the larger limelight, uh, and be able to build, come and push things forward like they did in that previous cycle. But I mean, all that remains to be seen. We do see other projects starting to step forward and kind of push them out of the way. Uh, and I mean that is going to continue to happen. Someone can be on top for forever. So we're starting to see now, at least on the timeline that I've been seeing for the past month, maybe two, as we've started to see that markets are rising, crypto is rising again. With the rise of crypto, we're also finding that in NFTs. Uh, Especially on the mainstream side, perhaps not necessarily on the financial side, but we do see that on the mainstream side, where as we hear more about crypto, I know NFTs are have that it's one of those taboo words like community, WAGMI, all that type of stuff. When you hear NFT, you think about scam. But for those of us who are in the space, who understand what the uses of them are, we understand that not only is it a viable vehicle for art, but a viable vehicle for commerce. Uh, and so we're starting to see new projects that, when a lot of this first started, and when they started to kind of branch away from the NFT side, tried to decouple themselves from being an NFT project, but it continues to underscore that platform that these companies start with, where the NFT is the base level, the foundation, and then they're starting to continue to grow, put other media into this, whether it be music, art. And if you know, you know who I'm talking about. The next that I'm talking about is Doodles. So headed over to our second topic, Doodles just today has announced a partnership and a collaboration with Universal Studios, which is Universal Monsters, which is the horror division of Universal Studios, and they just teased a new creative venture reimagining Universal's classic monsters. So these are monsters that we know that we know of, like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman. I know Bride of Frankenstein is in there as well, and so it's again very new. So much of this just came out today. Saw this on the timeline this morning, and when I was putting together topics, I was like, I definitely have to take a moment to talk about it. But it's going to be interesting to see uh, Doodles, who is known for their NFTs, great art from burnt toast, pastel colors, rainbows, what they are going to reimagine these universal monsters, which oftentimes, when we were first introduced to some of these monsters, was in black and white cinema. And so going from that black and white cinema into this kind of technicolor imagery from Doodles is gonna be super interesting. So the caption that we saw with the teaser video from Doodles today said the stuff of nightmares reimagined. And so when I think about a nightmare, Doodles is not the first thing that comes to mind. Uh, you know, I'm thinking zombies. I'm thinking goblins. If you know, you know. Uh, so when I think about monsters, I'm not necessarily thinking about Doodles. But as we talked about the past couple of weeks, so much of this makes sense from the Doodle side. Doodles has dropped a lot of collabs in the past, probably over the past year to 8 months or so, continuing to pull them away from the NFT platform that they had, but then push them over into more cross media entertainment. And so some of those included, I think we just saw a recent one with Fruit Loops, which we saw the Doodles art on boxes of Fruit Loops, limited edition. We did see Doodles at McDonald's. Uh, we have seen Doodles with Crocs, with the gibbets, and so much more. And so it continues. We were talking about this in our most recent ONJU Saturday, that it very much seems like Doodles is positioning themselves to be the new family friendly brand. Uh, I think that they're taking a page out of Pudgy's book, Pudgy Penguin's book, uh, where Pudgy first started in the as an NFT project, died, was brought back, and through amazing marketing, a lot of capital, a lot of people who are investing into it, went from memes online to plushies in the store to now continuing to be merch, games, so much more. So we're starting to see some of that. But I think that Doodles took a page out of that book and has started to position themselves much like Pudgy into the mainstream with these cross media entertainment. From they started their own animation studio uh with a few episodes out. I do know Pharrell was involved in the musical direction for a lot of it. He's brought in other people. We did talk about this, I know, a few months back over on IGU Saturday. And so continuing to just position themselves as a mainstream brand, which is taking them further away from that NFT brand. But for the people who are involved in at the bottom of the platform, uh, where they started as an NFT brand, I'm sure they're continuing to be really excited to see that, because even though they may not consider themselves a NFT brand or NFT company, so much of what these collabs are bringing are continuing to benefit those original holders of Doodles, and the new holders that are continuing to be on the blockchain as they change from wallet to wallet. So My question for you, chat, is out of those monsters that we talked about, think about some of those universal monsters, right? We got Dracula, we got Frankenstein, we got the Wolf Man, the Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein. What, which one of those monsters do you think should get the first doodle treatment? So I'm thinking pastel colors, uh, maybe Dracula instead of blood dripping down his chin. He's got a big rainbow dripping down his chin, like that iconic trait that we know. And I also wonder where they're going to move with that. Will we see some of these Universal monsters in upcoming episodes uh, of of their animation series? Will we see doodles at mainstream amusement parks? Um, Yeah, so drop in. Tell me what you think. Leave it in the chat, send it over. We're always over on our Discord campus, so we'll put some of that up as well. I gotta get an outro. Um, and a title for that because Onaji is everywhere. We're over on Discord. You can find us on X. You can find us on YouTube. You can now find us on Twitch, where we are now as well, which has brought us kind of into the streaming side. So wherever you find Onaji, make sure you find me and let me know what universal monster you could choose to get that doodle treatment and what you feel like it might look like. All right. Headed over to our third topic. But before we get over on that side, shout out to the folks we got that are watching us live. What's up? What's up? Thanks so much for joining us on this kind of impromptu Thursday Commons. I'm usually over on Wednesdays, but life was life. And so I decided to come in on Thursday so that I can continue to hold myself accountable for being consistent, getting in front of this camera each and every week to come and have conversation with the Onaji fam and all the new folks. As you see as well, I'm over here. We got some new stuff going on with the layout. So continuing to amplify so that not only you're entertained, but we continue to educate Black and Brown and allied folks and anyone else who is looking for information on emerging tech, AI, Web3, blockchain, all the good kind of stuff. So welcome to the comments. Glad y'all joined me today. With our tech and culture speed round that we're doing today, we've already had two topics. First one was about the court ruling that Bored Ape Yacht Club owned by Yuga Labs are not considered securities. So that was good for them. And then going over to the brand new hot off the press topic of the new Universal Monsters and Doodles collab. So those are our two tech. This last one is culture. So if you know me, just had undivided attention space with with Onaji on Monday, this past Monday, where we're talking about some of my favorite artists. So three of those um, that I did share was one, Beyonce, two, one of my favorite Japanese artists, Hikaru Utada, and then a third one was Britney Spears. I'm a pop girl all day, all day. Uh, Born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, was in middle school and high school when the boy band craze hit with Christina, Britney, Mandy Moore, like all those people. So that was essential in my coming of age and my growing up in music. And so that has continued not only really relating to Beyonce when she was in her pop bag, when she first went solo, to then continuing on. But we've seen as time has gone on, the new divas that are popping up, like Gaga, like one person who we're about to talk about next, Taylor Swift. And what's been interesting is to see how these pop stars, how their music changes with how they change within their lives as well. We saw Beyonce go from Dangerously in Love, um, going into B Day and Screaming on the Track, into a little bit more mature coming forward with Self Titled, where we had songs like EXO talking about like the deeper aspects of love. And then we get into some of the later stuff like Lemonade, and then the recent three acts, which we're in act 1 and 2 now, from Beyonce of Renaissance and Cowboy Carter. And then we're looking forward to this third one. And what we have seen from her from age 18 to early 40s is definitely a growth in music, a growth in maturity. And then when we go over to someone like Taylor Swift, who started off more on the pop side, but getting into the pop side via the country, and then continuing to make music, great gowns, beautiful gowns, amazing songwriter, can never take any of that from her. But we don't always see some of the growth uh, in her music as we see in others. And so taking it back to our third one, had to move it around, I got tired of seeing that layout up for a second. But taking it back to the third topic that we've got, that is talking about some of the controversy that Taylor has brought forth with her newest album drop, The Life of a Showgirl. I really can't believe I'm talking about Taylor Swift right now. Like, for real, for real. Um, but Taylor just dropped The Life of a Showgirl. I forgive me, I cannot remember what number album this is for her. But with this new album has come forth with some controversy for some of the songs. Now, at the very least, with pop, especially with women in pop, anything that they sing about is going to be held to a lot of scrutiny. We've seen this already with Taylor. When she was first, when she first came to prominence, where she was writing and singing about a lot of her past relationships, and that has continued to kind of almost be her brand for from the time when she started, when she was 16 to 17, to now almost to her 40s. And so there's been some controversy with some of the newer songs that she has. This Life of a Showgirl album is very, very much pop tinged, very much disco tinged. She's run the gamut from country to pop to a little bit more acoustic when you go into things like some of her albums, like the Tortured Poets Department and things like that, but all still with that signature Taylor Swift songwriting. And so she's continuing to talk about uh, her relationships, and now she has brought the people she is in relationships to the forefront on her newest album. And as a lot of us know, from the mainstream pop folks, she was dating Eagles? Was he in the Eagles? Y'all finna get me. I feel bad. I don't feel bad, but I feel bad because I don't know who Travis Kelce plays for right now. I think he used to play for the Eagles. Maybe that's his brother. Is that his brother? Something like that. So she's dating Travis Kelce. If you know Travis Kelce, then you know who he plays for. Great for you. But she just got engaged to him. So there are two songs that we're going to talk about in this topic that kind of mention him, that have been under the microscope of scrutiny. The first one is this song Wood. Now, I heard Wood for the first time this morning on an Instagram reel, didn't know what it was about. And then, as you know, the algorithm, that song came up. So now I'm seeing more and more people talking about it. I'm having conversations with people earlier today about it. Uh, and I'm hearing about this song Wood. So I'm like, let me go look it up. So apparently this Wood song, she's speaking of innuendos, explicit lyrics in the song Wood, which is, people are saying, overtly sexual. For pop, no. For Taylor, yeah. But it's been criticized for a lot of the graphic imagery. One of the lyrics that stand out say, his love was the key that opened my thighs. Now, when we know virginal white Taylor Swift, she usually is not seen that graphically. So I think I was coming at this from the angle of, she hasn't necessarily really grown in the content that she sings of. We still hearing about relationships. Maybe I should take that back a little bit and say she has, because she hasn't really given us a song that has been so overtly sexual before. So I mean, she's a grown woman. Uh, she probably had mistakes. Okay, it is what it is. Um, but this was just something new that a lot of people are talking about. And for her, we're not used to seeing beautiful country pop, America's Sweetheart Princess, uh, Taylor Swift singing about something so raw. Uh, Also, the controversy. There's some more other controversy around it that she plagiarized the Jackson Five "I Want You Back" and didn't and didn't give it credit. But the one that stands out to me, so we're past Wood, but the one that stands out to me that I've been hearing about much more often is the song "Opalite." Okay, uh, with this, when you if you know Travis Kelsey and the little bit that I know about him, you already see I don't know who he plays for. So the little bit that I know about him, uh, is we know about him in the mainstream culture from the fact that he, before Taylor, dated a lot of black women. Three, uh, to be exact, and probably many more, but three that during the time that we've known him as uh, as a sports star, have been a little bit more high profile. And so a lot of people are saying with this Opalite song that she's kind of Taylor's being a little bit shady to some of his exes. And the exes that we know of are black women. So the lyrics that stand out talk about Taylor is singing about Travis in the way of saying, um, he was lost in the onyx night, but now his skies are opalite. So when you think about onyx, and we're talking about stones here, not even semi-precious stones, but it's like stones and minerals. When you think about onyx, onyx is a very, very dark stone, black. I remember I wore a ring in middle school and it was onyx. It was onyx and gold. And I like that black and gold combo because the stone itself was so dark black, um, and juxtaposed with the really light gold. And then when you think about opalite, opalite is a very light, almost iridescent stone. Also, number one, onyx is natural, opalite is man-made. So take with that, you know. And so continuing in some of those lyrics, some of the jabs get a little bit mean spirited, and a lot of people are saying she's punching down. Like she's almost flaunting the fact that he left what he was used to and now has what's on the opposite side as an extreme, and it's way better than what he used to have. And so that's been a lot. There's been a lot of accusations of racial insensitivity, and I think what musicians can do, and we see this already in pop, oftentimes is they hide behind the lyrics, for lack of a better word, right? So we can say, "Oh, it's no, it's just I really enjoy these stones, and that was the imagery." But then we also know, as a pop star and as a very successful pop star, you have to be really intentional with what it is that you talk about. And we've seen Taylor up until recently, not really take a hardline stance on a lot of different things until I would say maybe over the past 5 years. And I understand the commercialism of music, the commercialism of pop music, and wanting to not shake your fan base, but with songs that can be taken in this way, it stands out to me that you have to be intentional for that. It's not something that can be very sweetly innocent. Oh, I didn't realize that. You're a billionaire pop star. You write all these songs. You understand imagery, you understand writing, you understand how words can be used to say things without saying them. So it continues to stand out to me that I feel like some of this might be intentional. And it's not because I'm not the biggest fan of Taylor. I'm just not the biggest fan of Taylor. She writes some great songs, but as far as production, the content of what she sings about, her voice just really doesn't appeal to me. I don't relate to it. Uh, but knowing what you have to do to get to the level that she is, and then again hiding behind the veil of the song of, oh, it's just, oh, I like these things, I'm gonna sing about it in that way. There's much more there. There's much more there. So I don't think at the end of the day it's really going to make a big difference with Taylor. I don't think anybody's going to turn around and try to cancel Taylor Swift more than the people who already have. I think many of the people who take umbrage with what with these songs are not her fan base. Uh, we know from what we see from the timeline that we have people that are like super huge fans that their artist can do no wrong. I'm not gonna lie, I get like that about Beyonce. Uh, but I also believe you can't be a billionaire without stepping on some people along the way. Maybe just how hard you step on them, but you got to step on somebody along the way. You've got to kind of look out for yourself as you go to the top. And I think that for Taylor, this is a little bit of that. A lot of the reviews that are coming back for The Life of a Showgirl are saying, it's a little bit underwhelming. Uh, I would think that agent at the superstar level that she is, that the songs would be better, that we wouldn't be singing about things that are seemingly so trivial for a nearly 40-year-old engaged woman. Um, but I think that this is what a lot of her fan base is going through right now. I was listening to, uh, I've been listening to a lot of Tate McRae. I've been listening to some Ariana Grande, and on the way home today, I was literally listening to some of the new Ariana tracks from Eternal Sunshine, and it was giving that this new Ariana and Tate McRae and some of this Taylor Swift is the new aesthetic, the new mainstream aesthetic for white girls. Um, and Ariana is someone who I feel like is showing us the growth in music content, in lyric content, in vocal content that I think a lot of people are looking for from Taylor. Uh, Albeit Ariana has that very kind of highlight, almost juvenile voice. The vocal layering that she does in her songwriting that we hear in this most recent album is not giving at all juvenile. It's giving grown woman, it's giving introspection, it's giving I've been through things, I'm on the other side with a new purpose and a new sense. From the production, from the controversy that we hear right now, I'm not seeing it from Taylor. And I'll leave it there. So it's been a good little conversation with us, y'all. Well, thanks for hanging out with me for a bit of time. Look, I told you I was gonna wax poetic a little bit, and I didn't know how long that was gonna be, but it was probably a good almost 45 minutes of us speaking about this culture, tech and culture speed round. So it was kind of a mid round, maybe not speed round, but maybe not long round, somewhere in between, something like that. Um, and as you're hearing, my voice is needing a little bit of little bit of drink. I've been all that talking. But let's go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you for joining me for this impromptu Thursday night edition of the Commons. You'll see me again on Wednesdays. That's my normal time. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Got all those three on the first try. Claps for me. But yes, continue to keep your eyes and ears open on throughout social media, throughout any streaming platforms that you consume on for ONJU University. We're here educating Black, Brown, and allied folks on emerging tech, Web3, AI, blockchain, anything that has to do with technology that's going on now. We are the place that you can learn more about it. So keep your eyes and ears open. We will be back for ONJU Saturdays, which usually happen 12 p.m. CST, 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. EST. Look at me. I'm getting better. It's all coming back to me now. Um, hey, Celine, I told y'all I was Pop Girl. But keep your eyes and ears open for Onaji University all over Twitch, YouTube. Search Onaji over on YouTube, Onaji University Network. Follow us. Don't be afraid to comment and subscribe and pass us along to anyone who is looking for good topics, some good talk like we had today, whether it's tech, culture, blockchain, or more. All right. So thanks for joining me. Y'all have an amazing night. I will see you in less than 1 week for our next Commons, hopefully talking about Black flagship NFT projects. We're still on our NFT wave right now. You see, that's what my interest is. We'll get to the other stuff, and we usually do over on IGU Saturdays. But for now, as we get back into this new hype cycle, let's talk about some NFTs and let's manifest them back to the prominence that they were back in 2022. All right. Y'all have an amazing evening. I will see y'all soon. Hopefully next time with the outro video. But until then, see ya.